Hello everyone and welcome to my Y&R Insider 24 update channel. A vulnerable moment triggers Victoria to kiss Nate. The Young and the Restless spoilers suggest that Victoria Newman could plant a kiss on Nate Hastings very soon. These exes are both going through a hard time and leaning on each other in the process, so could a vulnerable moment trigger a lip lock? Let's talk about it. Nate Hastings and Victoria Newman bond in Mourning. The Young and the Restless spoilers remind fans that both Nate and Victoria are mourning individuals that are close to them, and they've bonded because of this. While everyone was in Nice and Cole Howard, J. Eddie Peck, passed away, Nate was there for both Victoria and Claire Newman. In the aftermath of learning his brother, Damien Kane, passed away, and his breakup with Audra Charles, Vic has been there for her ex. While the two are just friends right now, fans can't help but feel as if more is on the horizon for these two, along with a potential reunion. Nate and Victoria reunion. In fact, fall preview spoilers for the CBS soap tease that Nate and Victoria might explore a reunion, and there's a good chance that another incident triggers an emotional moment between the two. Claire is dealing with a lot right now, not only the loss of her father and betrayal from Kyle Abbott, but Audra's role in it all. If Victoria has an emotional moment where something happens with Claire, and Nate happens to be in her orbit, could she turn to him for support? Could Nate be present to salvage the situation? If Victoria is frantic or upset, could he console her with an embrace, where the two end up kissing? Could more happen? Since Nate and Vicky last got together, a lot has changed, but more importantly, both of them have changed their values. They are both single, and they wouldn't be doing anything wrong if they crossed a line, so will Claire's life issues be the very thing that pulls Nate and Vicky back together? Would you like to see Nate and Victoria reunite? Comment below. Keep an eye on this website frequently for the most recent Young and the Restless spoilers, news, and updates. Jack's trick, Claire's invite, Lauren's fury. The Young and the Restless spoilers for September 22, 2025, have been released. Fans can expect Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, to have a trick up his sleeve. An intriguing invitation is sent to Claire Grace Newman. Additionally, Lauren Fenmore Baldwin maintains her independence from Michael Baldwin. Keep reading and let's talk about what is coming up in the CBS soap opera. Claire Grace Newman's invite. Let's start off with Claire, who receives an intriguing invitation. This will come from Holden Novak. In the weekly preview clip, Holden tells Claire if she's looking for distance, then maybe she could come to Los Angeles with him. The blonde seems intrigued, but it could also lead to some danger. At one time, Audra Charles mentioned that Holden loved to take risks, and it scared her. The brunette never went into detail, but I wonder if Claire could end up in the same boat. Audra Charles and Sally Spectra plot. Speaking of Audra, she will get updated by Sally Spectra. The redhead tells her friend that Billy Abbott destroyed the company before it even launched. However, Audra is no stranger to hostile takeovers or devious scheming. So, they will put their heads together and figure out their next move. Tessa Porter's next move. The Young and the Restless spoilers for the week of September 22 reveal that Daniel Romalotti, Jr. will update Tessa Porter. However, the singer has no intention of just letting Mariah Copeland, Cameron Grimes, go. Tessa decides that she's going to go see Mariah. Week of September 22, 2025. Fans can also expect Victoria Newman to give Kyle Abbott unsolicited advice. Later, Audra pushes Kyle's buttons. Victor Newman makes Kane Ashby an offer he can't refuse. Meanwhile, Jack and Diane Jenkins Abbott reign in Billy. Additionally, it is stated that Jack has a plan of his own. Kane and Tracy Abbott reunite. The woman will give a little history lesson and it's kind of fascinating. By the end of the week, Kane ends an alliance. Billy will also force Sally to make a tough decision. Lauren stands her ground with Michael. So, it sounds like she finds out the truth about all those text messages. Additionally, Victor contemplates a truce with Jack. Elsewhere, Nikki Newman gets surprising news. Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most during the week of September 22, 2025? Write down your thoughts in the box below. Keep watching the soap on CBS or Paramount Plus to find out what happens next. The soap opera world thrives on moments of vulnerability, And in Genoa City, those fleeting seconds of weakness often spiral into choices that ripple across family empires, businesses, and tangled romances. Victoria Newman, long defined by her iron will, cool exterior, and loyalty to her family legacy, now finds herself in one of those rare emotional states where the armor begins to crack. Nate Hastings, a man who has endeavored to strike a balance between medical brilliance and corporate ambition, is equally fragile following the life-altering losses and betrayals. Together, these two ex-lovers hover on the edge of something electric, something that may explode in a kiss born not out of strategy, but out of raw human connection. The question is, will this kiss become a moment of clarity for them both, or the spark that reignites a flame destined to burn down everything they've built separately? Cole Howard's passing has been a crushing blow to Victoria. Despite the complexity of her relationship with Cole, their shared history and Claire's co-parenting made them forever connected. Losing him reopened wounds she thought had healed. Victoria's memories of Cole are intertwined with her mistakes as a mother, the lies that poisoned her daughter's early life, and the never-ending strain of being Victor Newman's daughter because grief doesn't follow logic. Behind closed doors, Victoria is a woman with generational scars, failed relationships, and a constant struggle to protect her children. The world sees Victoria as the powerhouse of Newman Enterprises. Nate, meanwhile, has just endured heartbreak of his own. The betrayal of Audra Charles, both personal and professional, cut deep. Her manipulations and schemes left him questioning his judgment, his values, and whether ambition had blinded him to what really matters. On top of that, the news of his brother Damien's passing tore into him with unexpected force, reminding him that even the strongest among them can crumble when family ties are severed by death. It is not business or lust that brings Victoria and Nate back together, rather, it is grief that brings them together. They are both aware of how it feels to lose a loved one who cannot be replaced. Nate has stood beside Victoria as she tried to be strong for Claire, and Victoria has quietly offered Nate the steady compassion he needed when Audra's betrayals left him shaken. Soap fans can sense when two characters share a bond that transcends convenience. Their scenes carry a quiet intensity, as if every look is layered with both history and possibility. They tell themselves they are just friends, but every word spoken in hushed tones, every touch on the shoulder, every glance that lingers a beat too long, suggests the opposite. In Genoa City, friendship often becomes the prelude to something more, and the spoilers tease exactly that. Imagine the scene. Victoria has just endured another emotional clash with Kyle Abbott over Claire. Due to Kyle's betrayal, Victoria has become fiercely protective of her daughter and possibly even desperate to protect Claire from further harm. Nate happens to be nearby, so Victoria finally lets the facade fall. He might be checking in or listening sympathetically. She confesses her fears, her frustrations, her guilt. Without judging, Nate listens, his hand finding hers out of instinct rather than deliberate action. When she finally exhales, the silence between them stretches. She looks up, her eyes glistening, and in that suspended heartbeat, vulnerability turns into something else. They meet at the aching desire for connection rather than in passion or seduction. Of course, this is the young and the restless, where no kiss is just a kiss. The implications are significant for Nate and Victoria. Their last relationship ended in betrayal and bitterness, but time has changed them. Nate is no longer under Audra's manipulative thumb, and Victoria is no longer blind to her own flaws. They've both been humbled. The part of them that remembers what it was like to be wanted, seen, and understood might be brought back to life by that kiss. And yet, questions loom. Will they admit to wanting more, or dismiss it as a mistake in a moment of weakness? Meanwhile, the soap's other storylines swirl around this rekindled connection, intertwining fates the way only Genoa City can. Jack Abbott is scheming once again, this time with a trick that could upend the balance of power between the Abbotts and the Newmans. As the mustache makes an offer to Kane Ashby, it may very well come into conflict with Victor's own manipulations, as Victor always attaches strings to his offers. Kane, on the other hand, finds solace in reuniting with Tracy Abbott. Her warmth and wisdom may be just what he needs to avoid being swallowed up by Victor's deal. Tracy, ever the heart of the Abbott family, knows history repeats itself in Genoa City, and her perspective could serve as both caution and inspiration. Elsewhere, Claire Grace Newman faces a crossroads of her own. When Holden Novak extends an invitation to Los Angeles, it sounds tempting, almost like a chance at freedom. But freedom often carries hidden costs. Holden's risky tendencies echo warnings from Audra, and Claire may find herself lured into something dangerous. Because each choice Claire makes affects her mother's emotional stability, her storyline returns to Victoria's kiss with Nate. Victoria may draw closer to Nate out of desperation if Claire takes a dangerous turn, relying on him not only as a confidant but also as a partner in weathering the storm. Their potential reunion becomes less about romance and more about survival, two people clinging to each other when the world keeps taking. Audra and Sally formed a duo that had the potential to shake the business world in another area of Genoa City. Their alliance, born from Billy Abbott's implosion, may put them on a collision course with Victoria, who has never taken kindly to anyone threatening Newman Enterprises. In addition, jealousy may surface if Audra becomes aware that Victoria and Nate are circling each other once more, posing an additional threat to an already volatile situation. Audra doesn't let go easily, and Nate may find himself caught between two women who both know how to play power games. Lauren Fenmore Baldwin is also a part of the drama because she has reached her limit with Michael Baldwin's secrets. Lauren is no longer the forgiving wife who is ready to ignore the texts, half-truths, and evasions. Standing her ground, she forces Michael to confront his choices, setting up a battle that may ripple through their marriage. Lauren will be forced to choose between being loyal to her husband and following her moral compass because Jack's trick and Victor's negotiations will likely collide with Michael's legal maneuvers. Victoria and Nate remain the story's driving force through it all. They represent the possibility of second chances, of flawed people rediscovering what they mean to each other. Fans may be divided, some rooting for them to reunite, others wary of repeating the past, but that division is exactly what makes soap opera storytelling so addictive. Every secret, every kiss, and every whisper has the power to start a chain reaction. If Victoria and Nate do give in to their renewed attraction, the fallout could impact not only their lives but Claire's, Audra's, the Newman Empire, and even the Abbott-Newman feud. A web of love, loss, power, and betrayal will be created by all of these threads as the week of September 22nd unfolds. A kiss between Victoria and Nate may seem like a small moment, but in Genoa City, small moments are never insignificant. They are the first dominoes in a line that stretches across generations. One thing is for certain, this kiss will not go unnoticed, and it will not be forgotten, regardless of whether it results in a scandal, a reconciliation, or heartbreak. The Newman ranch was unusually quiet that evening, the kind of silence that pressed on the air after too many long days of grief and tension. Victoria sat by the fireplace, staring into the flames though she wasn't really watching them. Her mind was replaying every detail of the past week: Cole's funeral in Nice, Claire's devastation, Kyle's betrayal, and the gnawing guilt that somehow she hadn't been enough to shield her daughter from heartbreak. She felt the weight of her father's expectations, the empire she was expected to keep afloat, but none of that compared to the ache of watching her child in pain. For once, Victoria didn't want to be the CEO, or the daughter of Victor Newman, she just wanted to be a mother who could make things right. The sound of the door opening startled her. She turned, half expecting Claire, but it was Nate. His expression carried that mixture of exhaustion and empathy she had come to know well. "I hope I'm not intruding," he said softly, stepping inside. "You're not," Victoria answered, her voice catching slightly. "Actually, I'm glad it's you." Nate sat across from her, his gaze lingering. "I was checking on you. After everything. Cole, Claire, Kyle, it's a lot for anyone to handle. And you always try to handle everything alone." Victoria gave a small laugh, but it was brittle. "That's what Newmans do. Alone is our specialty." "Maybe that's the problem," Nate replied gently. "You don't have to carry it all yourself." She looked at him then, really looked. There was no judgment in his eyes, no corporate ambition hiding beneath his words, no ulterior motive, just Nate. And that disarmed her more than she wanted to admit. "Sometimes I don't know how to stop," she whispered. "I've spent my whole life fighting to prove I can be strong. But what if being strong means I've forgotten how to just feel?" Nate leaned forward, his hand brushing hers. "Then maybe it's time you let yourself feel again. You're allowed, Victoria. You don't always have to be made of steel." The crack in her armor widened. She hadn't planned to cry, but the tears came anyway, sliding down her cheeks as Nate's thumb grazed her hand. He stood, moved beside her, and when she let out a shaky breath, he wrapped his arms around her in a hug that was less about passion and more about holding her together. It was in that embrace, when she tilted her head up to meet his eyes, that the moment stretched into something unspoken. The kiss happened naturally, almost without thought, soft at first, then deeper as months of tension, loss, and unspoken longing poured into it. When they pulled back, the silence roared louder than any words. Victoria blinked, torn between surprise and recognition. "We shouldn't have," she started, but her tone lacked conviction. Nate exhaled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "I don't regret it. Do you?" She hesitated, then whispered, "No. I don't." Across town, the dominoes that would eventually collide with this moment were already falling. At Society, Audra Charles nursed a martini while listening to Sally Spectra vent about Billy Abbott's latest implosion. Sally's fiery tone matched her red hair as she declared, "He ruined everything before it even started. But if Billy thinks he's burying me, he's got another thing coming." Audra smirked, the wheels in her mind turning. "We both know Billy is self-destructive. The trick is to turn his chaos into our advantage. And maybe we don't stop there." "You're thinking Newman?" Sally asked, raising an eyebrow. "I'm always thinking Newman," Audra replied, her gaze hardening. "And if Victoria believes she is secure, she is mistaken. I know her. I know Nate. And if she's circling him again, it's only a matter of time before she slips. And when she does, I'll be ready." Meanwhile, Claire sat in her room at the ranch, staring at her phone where Holden Novak's invitation glowed on the screen. "Come to Los Angeles. Clear your head. Get distance." The idea was tempting. Distance sounded like freedom, like a chance to breathe away from Newman drama. But Audra's warning about Holden's taste for risk gnawed at her. Was she running toward healing, or straight into danger? She responded with a message before deleting it. Her gut warned her to be cautious despite her longing for freedom. Back at the Abbott mansion, Jack and Diane shared a quiet moment of their own. Diane watched her husband's expression as he looked at the papers in his hands while she made herself a glass of wine. "You're planning something," Diane said knowingly. Jack gave her a sly smile. "A trick, let's say. Something to keep Victor on his toes. The mustache thinks he's always 3 steps ahead, but I've been playing this game just as long." Diane shook her head with a mixture of exasperation and admiration. "Just don't let your ego blind you, Jack. Victor thrives when his enemies underestimate him." "Don't worry," Jack assured, slipping the papers into a folder. "This time, he won't see me coming." But at the same moment, Victor himself was in his study at the ranch, speaking on the phone in that commanding tone that brooked no argument. "Kane, my boy, I have an offer for you. One that could change the balance of power in this town. But remember, with every gift comes responsibility. And loyalty to me." As Victor hung up, a rare smile tugged at the corners of his lips. "Jack Abbott thinks he has a trick. We'll see who outmaneuvers who."